Howdy, folks. Welcome back to ARK University. Professor Bowden Maddox here with my assistant Astrid Maddox, and we're going to talk today all about rafts. Rafts are cool. Now, when ARK first came out in early access, there was no real way to do anything on the ocean. You could tame an ichthy, which is like a dolphin, or a megalodon, a shark, and you could ride them, or you can swim. But both of those are pretty dangerous, and in fact, getting out there required those animals if you wanted to go to where there are nice underwater caves or any of the underwater resources that you could get, pearls, oil. You either had to find locations near the shore that you could dive to and bump up your oxygen, or maybe there's a Lazarus chowder that you can brew up, and we're going to talk about chowders and other recipes in a later video. But you could do that to extend your oxygen supply and that sort of thing. Later on in the game, they introduced scuba gear, which makes staying underwater for a very long period of time very easy when you reach the levels where you can actually craft scuba gear. But getting around still required you to tame one of the animals, but not anymore, since they introduced rafts. So let's talk a bit about the rafts. First of all, let's talk about what it takes to craft one. The raft Ingram is available once you reach level 15, so it's fairly early game. And it takes exactly 11 Ingram points to learn it. In fact, let's go ahead and learn it at this point. The actual recipe for a raft, which you can craft in your hands, thankfully, is basic materials: wood, fiber, and hide. And not too many. I mean, you can gather that amount even on a server that has default settings with even primitive tools. So at level 15, you can start sailing about the sea. So all we need is 250 wood, 125 fiber, and 75 hide. Using a raft is pretty easy. You simply get onto the raft by using your use key, whatever that happens to be. Default is E usually on the PC. And to steer it, you steer it in a very interesting way. It's kind of like driving a dinosaur. You know, with a dinosaur, you push forward. By default, that's your W key, and then you turn your mouse in the direction you want to go. The rafts work the same way. They don't back up. And you can't really beach them anymore. You used to be able to really kind of beach them, but now it doesn't really let you do that. I imagine there are some glitchy situations where it could get beached. But in general, you can always drive up to a beach and actually stick the raft on the beach. For the most part, let's demo that right now by spinning around. It's kind of tricky to drive a raft. You have to kind of like really point hard in the direction you want to go to keep turning in that direction. See, now I'm mostly beached, but I can still get off if I just spin my mouse around and point away. So driving them is fairly straightforward. You can take passengers. You can even take animals on a simple raft. And one of the first things you're going to want to do, most likely, unless you're really into the role-playing aspects of ARK, is hide this sail. And that's done by holding down your use key and picking Hide Sail. The sail is gone. Now, we talked about being able to take passengers on a boat, on a raft, but it doesn't have to be an actual player. It can be a tamed animal as well. So we'll take this Gigantopithecus, for instance. We'll set him on the raft, and I'll show you that we can drive around with him. Now, be careful also when you have tamed animals, because you can actually glitch them off of the raft. For instance, here's an example. Let's drive up to this rock. See how he got bumped? To be really careful when you have animals on your raft. Even if you have walls built on the raft. Oh, by the way, yeah, you can build on a raft. And if you have walls, the animals may still glitch through, so be really careful. One of the most common things to do with a raft is to build a platform for carrying dinosaurs. Small and even most large dinosaurs can easily walk onto a raft platform and structures built on a raft. If you lay down foundations, extend with ceilings, even build walls, have ramps as you see here, it makes it very easy to move a dino about. This particular raft was built for the purpose of ferrying animals around. But one thing to note is that animals who can carry platform saddles, such as this parasaur, do not currently appear able to ride on a raft. I am trying to push forward as best I can to get this parasaur to get onto this raft, and he just will not make that step up. The game just refuses to allow him to do it. Now, I could glitch him onto the raft, but as soon as I move the raft, he would just stand still or fall into the water. To prove my point, here is the same parasaur with a non-platform saddle, still unable to walk onto the raft. Now, in addition to animals that can carry platforms, there's also an exception being made for the biggest dinosaur in ARK right now, the Giganotosaurus. The Giganotosaurus cannot successfully ride on a raft. Again, I'm pushing as hard as I can, and even if I glitch him on top, which I've tried, trust me, the raft will just sail away without him. Another very common use for a raft is as a mobile taming platform. You can build up a one-high wall platform such as this one in front of us for taming very small animals. Use an RG or another bird to fetch them, such as this Dilo, and you just fly over and gently drop them into the pit. You can tame them through the window slots here using your trank arrows or your tranquilizer darts, and just walk in when they're asleep and tame them and move them about the island. You can move them about while they are still conscious by moving the raft. They'll move with you. Or when they're unconscious, while they're taming up, you can move them back to your base. It's very convenient. If you want to build the walls higher, you can even do larger animals. Sometimes you can build a trap by having these ramps, instead of going up to the doorway, go up to the top of the wall and actually lead an animal such as a T-Rex into the trap and tame them that way. And another very convenient aspect of the platforms and the things you can build on rafts is if you build a actual room or a structure that has a roof, walls, and a floor, you can get the house buff. Notice on the top or in the middle of the right of my screen, you have the little house buff icon for this particular structure, which is built on a raft. Well, I hope this little demonstration of rafts helped you in some way. Appreciate you watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.